Assalamu alaikum. This podcast has been brought to you by SeekersGuidance, the global Islamic seminary. Help us spread the light of prophetic guidance to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Make a small donation at SeekersGuidance.org/donate. As little as $10 a month can help people find life-changing guidance.
Is there anything such as Islamic banking in the West?
Is there anything such as Islamic banking in the West? Yes. The short answer is that, there in the Sharia, there are rulings that are clear, which everyone knows. And there are rulings that are nuanced, that either are known by scholars, or there's rulings that are both nuanced and specialized, that are known by specialist scholars, just like anything else. Medicine. Someone has a simple headache, say, okay, take a Tylenol, take an Advil, etc. That's, anyone would know. Your back is hurting, a little light massage would do, whatever. That's common sense. You have a cough, get some cough medicine, whatever. And then there's some things that require a doctor and some things require a specialist. So one of the major areas of contemporary research in Islamic law, in fiqh, relates to contemporary contracts, contemporary financial contracts. And in this area, like any new area, there's a range of difference of opinion. But there's a few underlying issues. The first is, we have to be very clear that one of the most firmly prohibited actions in Islam is the taking of riba, or engaging in riba transactions, engaging in transactions involving interest or usury, riba. Nothing has been prohibited more sternly in the Quran or in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If you look at the verses on the prohibition of riba, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do not desist, فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If you do not desist from it, then be well aware of a proclamation of war, harb, of war from Allah and His Messenger. There's nothing that has been, no action that has been warned about as sternly in the Quran as the taking of riba, or is the engaging in riba, whether charging riba or paying it. And riba arises from contracts, right? From contracts. So it's a branch. Islamic finance and banking, for example, is a branch of commercial law. It's commercial law, and commercial law is one of the areas of law, of fiqh, and it requires specialists. So when it comes to the prohibition of riba, there are alternatives. Some alternatives simply fulfill the baseline of not falling into what is legally considered riba. Right? That's important to appreciate. Any kind of financing transaction, whether it be a loan or an investment or a mortgage, etc., ultimately it's a contract between two parties. The financing parties and the person taking the financing. So the least thing is that there may be some contracts that take one out of that which is Islamically considered to be riba. And that's the minimum. Right? That's the minimum. The prohibition of riba has higher aims related to social justice, related to equity, related to opportunity, right? Related to the economic health and well-being and economic justice of communities and societies, etc. Right? But we need to be going from contracts that are merely permissible to contracts that are both permissible and that fulfill these higher socio-economic aims. But one should not discount the tremendous spiritual consequence of going out from being in a state of major sin, of major prohibition by falling in riba, to being in a state where what one is doing is transactionally considered to be permissible. And at an international level, the ulama specialized in the area of commercial transactions and financial transactions. They have a number of large bodies of scholars that set standards for what are considered Sharia compliant financial transactions. One of these bodies is called AOFI, AAOIFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. One of the worst acronyms out there. But some of the leading scholars are involved in this. And this sets what are called standards, ma'ayir shar'iyya, regarding the various types of transactions. Recently they came up, after years of deliberation and research, to a mi'yar shar'i fil mu'amalat al-dhahabiyya, that they came up with Sharia standards, consensus standards, when it comes to transacting in gold, right? Because there are particular limits related to transactions with gold. There's limits that Allah and His Messenger have placed regarding that. So they place these standards. Why? So that the complex, nuanced issues that have wide impact are dealt with in a rigorous, researched, consultative, deliberative manner. Similarly, the Islamic Fiqh Academy, Al-Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, which again gathers some of the senior-most scholars, also has done decades of research when it comes to these major issues, right? And there are financial institutions that are compliant with these, with the range of contemporary scholarly research that, and sometimes there's difference of opinion, particularly with the Islamic Fiqh Academy, right? But there's a range of opinions that are considered mainstream, that are considered sound. And some scholars may disagree on some particulars, and that's from the richness of our tradition, right? But then there are opinions that would be considered aberrant, given all that contemporary research has said in our times, to be arguing that bank interest is not riba, is considered to be stepping outside the overwhelming agreement of the major scholars of the ummah, right? And those opinions, they're very dangerous, high-risk opinions to take. Because if 99 experts say that your house is at the risk of collapsing, but one says no, you wouldn't live in that house, because one or two people say no, it won't collapse, but everyone else says no, your house is going to collapse within the next 5 years. You won't let your family remain there. But if the overwhelming majority of the specialist scholars of the ummah say that this transaction that you're engaged in is riba, but you found one or two that says no, it's not, why make your eternal well-being dependent on something that dangerous? So there are such, in general, we don't recommend any specific products or services, but generally, a way of safety is that are the specific transactions, the specific contracts of the institution that you're working with, compliant with the AOFI standards. Right? These are the recognized and accepted standards, as confirmed specifically by recognized specialists in contemporary Islamic financial transactions and commercial law. Right? Scholars of recognized expertise in this field, like anything else. In the absence of that, because the AOFI standards are quite strict, at least that your transactions have been reviewed and approved. Specifically, your specific offerings have been reviewed and approved by scholars who are recognized experts in this field. And beware of false claims. Some people say, we are following the fatwa of so-and-so. right? I can say, okay, I'm following Einstein. Doesn't make me someone capable of talking about whatever Einstein was talking about. Theory, this and that. Right? That are the specific transactions approved, right? Are certified, right? By recognized scholars. So one should do some due diligence oneself. We had in one absurd case, this company was claiming that our transactions have been approved by a certain mufti. All the contracts were in English, and the mufti does not read nor understand English. So how did he approve it? Right? And these are, these kinds of things. One should be careful and confirm. Wallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yes, there are sound Sharia compliant modes of Islamic financing, and these are available. If you go to SeekersHub.org, we have a reader on riba and mortgages, etc., that highlights what is a mainstream position on interest, its taking and its giving. But it's if you want to take care of the spiritual and religious well-being of yourself and your family, keep completely away from riba. Right? Don't take, as those ulama of Halab, of Aleppo, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect it from fitna and from tribulations. There's a saying that I learned from some of the scholars from Halab, that خُذْ fatwa tunjik, la fatwa turdik. Take a fatwa that will be a means for your salvation. Don't just take a fatwa that is pleasing to you. Right? Because religion is about making the choices that are a means for eternal success. Right? Wallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala alam.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Seekers Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Visit SeekersGuidance.org to access reliable Islamic knowledge taught by qualified teachers. We offer a wide range of courses, podcasts, articles, and a world-class answer service. Support us in spreading free, reliable Islamic knowledge to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Visit SeekersGuidance.org/donate and make a small monthly commitment today. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a similar reward." So don't forget to share this podcast and spread prophetic guidance.